A very, very good morning to all our program in charges, the academic counselors and the regional directors. I would especially like to congratulate and welcome the new program study centers, program in charges and the counselors who have joined this IGNOU fraternity from this batch, and actually it is on their request and their initiation that we are holding this orientation training program, because we felt that through teleconferencing it would be the best possible not only to give an orientation to the counselors and the program in charges who have recently joined us, but also there are many new counselors who have joined in the various program study centers which were existing earlier. So we will be orienting you, it's a one-day program today. We will be orienting you about the program, about distance education per se to begin with, then about the program and how the practical sessions and the spell planning is done. We would also like to orient you in the second half about the assignments and the evaluation, and also how the evaluation forms have to be filled, because even in some of the old centers till date the forms are not received in the proper format, because of which the results get delayed. There are also a few changes which have been made. For example, the number of assignments have been reduced. The format of the form also has been changed for the MME 004 practicals. So we will be taking up all these issues in the second half and discussing. I would like that all the program in charges and the counselors, wherever and they have doubts, they should please call us on the free toll numbers which will be flashed to you, and they can also fax us. I would also request the program in charges who are from the previous program study centers to kindly also share their experiences as far as the spell planning is concerned, as far as the assignments is concerned, and the other issues that which we will be taking up subsequently. And we will now start the session. I will like to introduce, we have with us over here Professor T.K. Jaina. He has also been the program coordinator for PGDGM program in between for almost 2 years, and he is very well versant. In fact, it was during his time, I had developed the program, but it was during his time that the program was launched, and so I would like also his experiences to be shared while we are doing this orientation training program. I welcome you, Dr. Jaina, and I would also request him to start the session today by orienting you, especially the new counselors, about the concept of distance education. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ruchika, for the introduction. And I think all the old counselors who were already oriented maybe 4 or 5 years back, I was actually the key person for orienting the old counselors. And I feel this session, the first session, will be more or less a repetition for them. But the counselors who have joined after the first batch, for them it is very essential. We take up this session because unless you understand the concept of distance education, you will not appreciate the design that has been done for implementation of the program, and how essential it is to follow the design itself. Otherwise, the students, whenever they come for the spell, they come only for 1 month. So that precious time has to be utilized meaningfully. So to understand that, I will now briefly cover the concept of distance education. I will cover the things in 4 headings: the medical programs of IGNOU, the distance education concept, few terminology, and then the development process of the distance education programs. Now, as for the medical programs IGNOU has launched, I am highlighting 7 programs here. The first program for medical doctors, it was PG Diploma in Maternal and Child Health. The target group is MBBS. And then we launched PG Diploma in Hospital and Health Management. It is for doctors, for BDS, that is for Bachelor in Dentistry, and also for nursing. The PG Diploma in Geriatric Medicine, it was launched at our 3rd program, around I think 5 years now. And then PG Certificate in Rural Surgery, we have suspended this program for the time being, but this was targeted for Diploma in Obstetrics and Gynae, Diploma in Ortho, and MS in General Surgery. PG Diploma in Clinical Cardiology, this is launched 3 years back. This is also targeted for MBBS doctors. Then this year, in July, we have launched 2 programs, PG Certificate in Endodontics and PG Certificate in Oral Implantology. These 2 are for BDS doctors. I want to mention here that these 2 programs are recognized by Dental Council of India. Indeed, we are developing this program in collaboration with Dental Council of India. So here I take this opportunity to request the people who are linked with the geriatric medicine, maybe they can help us to get some recognition from Medical Council of India, so that we can also improve the quality of this program. Now coming to the distance education proper.
Over here, Dr. Jain, I would
Yeah.
just also like to give an information that as far as National Board is concerned, the National Board has recognized our programs, that is the geriatric medicine, PGDMCH and PGDHHM, and the students are given a waiver of 1 year. Students who have done PGDGM and DMCH, they are given a waiver of 1 year for doing family medicine. PGDMCH is given a waiver of 1 year for also MCH, and similarly hospital and health management, PGDHHM students are given a waiver of 1 year. And they can directly appear for the final examination if they have the requisite experience in addition to this 1 year of the program. And the ministry is also now recognizing the geriatric medicine program per se. There is going to be a 3-year diploma which is going to be started by the National Board, and IGNOS program is also going to be recognized for that. So I think this is a very big achievement after these so many years, and but we still have to break the ice with MCI. So that is what, as Dr. Jaina is saying, we require everybody's help, because from all quarters the pressures work, and so we'll be happy when this will be done. So I'm back to Dr. Jaina.
Thank you, Dr. Ruchika. Now coming to the first session topic proper, that is distance education. We call it presently open and distance learning, or ODL in brief. So I will be referring to the word ODL and maybe somewhere intermingled with distance education. Coming to the concept, if you see in a conventional system, the learner and the teacher, they are continuous. They are continuously present face to face. So all the learning process take place in continuum within a classroom. But when come to the distance education, the learner and the teacher, they are separated. And they are separated, but the link is through the technology. Like today, we are sitting apart, but through teleconference we are linked. So this is how the technology helps to link the learner and the teacher. But not only the technology helps, in distance education we have a component of face to face. It is mandatory. What I want to emphasize through this slide, that distance education is not that separation of the teacher and learner. There has to be a component of face to face learning. And this is where our role of spell training comes, and even the skill development center, there also the teacher and learner come face to face. So this is an essential component. I want to take out the concept of correspondence course and distance education with this component. This is very vital in distance education, which is not there in correspondence. Few theory I want to highlight here, that in distance learning, what we tell, it is a method of guided didactic interaction. I want to take some time on this terminology. When we tell guided, that means we are providing standard guidelines, and these guidelines aims at didactic interaction. Didactic means two-way interaction. So when we design a distance education program or distance learning package, it is aiming at providing guided didactic interaction. It has to be a standardized guidance, and it will ensure interaction not only at the medical college level. We want interaction at the skill development center level. Even now, through this teleconference, we are also providing some didactic interaction. We expect the viewers to interact with us, so that this didactic interaction is created. The concept is that teaching and learning, it is an arrangement. What we want to focus here, the teaching learning is an arrangement. Even in a classroom situation, it is an arrangement. We have agreed that, okay, this will be a classroom, there will be chairs for students to sit, there will be a blackboard, there will be whatever. This is a conscious arrangement we have made in a conventional system. And in a distance education system also, we are making another arrangement. But the message is, it is an arrangement we are making for teaching learning transactions. So if a transaction is possible within a classroom, it is also possible outside the classroom. That is the message we want to provide. And the learning can take place in one's own environment, not only in a classroom or in a planned arrangement. it can also take place in one's own environment at one's own pace. That is how we expect every student in his own place of work, he can also learn. That is the basic philosophy behind this. Another important concept I want to highlight, that distance is a function of dialogue and individualization. These are the two terms I want everyone to concentrate. When I tell a function of dialogue, dialogue means there has to be a two-way interaction, and the program that we are doing, it has to meet the individual need. If dialogue and individualization is taken care, then the distance is the least. That is the message I want to give you. So when I tell dialogue, whatever we will be doing today for the rest of the sessions, 4 or 5 sessions, we will be telling you how in PGDGM program we are creating a dialogue between the teacher and the student through our arrangements. And individualization is already taken care, because a student who is enrolling in PGDGM program, he is voluntarily opting that I want to read PGDGM. That means it is his individual desire or individual necessity is taken care. So if individual necessity is taken care and we are able to create a dialogue to clear the doubts of the student, then the distance will be the least. When we tell distance, it is not the physical distance, it is the distance in terms of the learning. So the learning will be more effective if effective academic interaction, distance between learner and the teacher is the least. That is the message I want to give you. And another point is, when we do an academic program, it has to be learner determined rather than institution determined. That means when we are developing a program, when we are developing the content of the program, we keep in mind that we meet the need of the learner. So it is not the institution which decides that no, we are comfortable with this package, so we should offer this. Rather, we should think that is it that learner interested? Is it going to meet the need of the nation? So we have to think in those lines when we develop a program. So if the program is learner determined, then there will be a demand for the program, and it will take care of the individualization, and only work of the distance education institutions will be to create a dialogue. So an institution, if it can maintain the dialogue, then I think the distance will be least and will be effectively teaching our students. Now the implication of these theories, what I told you, are that the learner has the freedom to start, pace and stop learning. Indeed, I want to tell you that IGNOU has already started walk-in admission. That means they can start their learning whenever they want. They can take admission throughout the year. They can pace. We already give some flexibility. That means the student can finish the program in 1 year, or he can complete it in 3 years. Even if he is not able to complete in 3 years, we can give some more extension. So the pace part is already taken care through IGNOU. And stop learning. Indeed, IGNOU is planning demand examination. That means if a student tells I am ready for examination,
walk-in examination,
like walk-in examination. So if we start walk-in admission, we give flexibility and walk-in examination, then I think that is the total flexibility we are providing to a learner. Therefore, the concept of distance education, the theory that I told you, this is the practice that IGNOU is doing. Now learning activity is more important. I have already told you that the learner-centric approach. So what we aim at, that learning should take place. So when you see the implementation model that we have done, the spell planning that we have done, we have kept this learning activity in mind. We plan in such a way that the learning will be more effective, even with a brief exposure to the teacher and the learning environment in a medical college. Still the learning activity can take place. That is how we have designed it. Media can decrease the distance. So we are taking care of the audio, video, teleconference, the other media approach, so that they can decrease the distance between the teacher and the student. Individual difference of the learner should be catered to. I think this is a very important point that I want to highlight. In a conventional system, we don't have a mechanism to cater to the individual differences. So what happens when the creams of the society take admission to a medical college? You find at the end of the 5 years, maybe in the final year, you find almost 10-20% students fail. Why they should fail? Because we have not taken care of the individual differences of learning. We have not taken care of their pace of learning. We have taught all the students in a single pace, and we have taught keeping in mind that all will be able to cope with the teaching process. But in a distance education system, we are taking care of the individual differences. How we are doing it? That we will cover later, maybe during the skill development center concept or the program study center. What we are providing, that we are providing repeated exposure to medical college and the skill development centers. So a student who is weak, he can spend more time. A teacher and the student, they have to interact at a one-to-one level. That one-to-one level interaction we are providing at a SDC. That is what the conceptually takes care of the individual differences of the learner. So this is a very important concept which is not that prevalent in a conventional system. Then evaluation should be independent of consequence, method, pace and place of study. Therefore, if our evaluation is very strict, if we are having independent appraisal, then what will happen? Whatever the consequence may be, whatever may be the method of teaching, that means whether it is distance education or conventional, whatever it may be, and whether the student has learnt in his own workplace or at the medical college or at the STC, or he has learnt in the 1 year or 3 years, it doesn't matter. If evaluation is independent of all these, if we are strict in the evaluation process, we maintain the quality of the evaluation, then it doesn't matter how a student has learned. Because we are providing the scope to learn, we are meeting the individual differences, individual need, we are creating an environment for learning activity. And if we can also make independent appraisal or the evaluation is independent, then I think the quality of the product can be at par with the conventional system. It is our conviction that if we follow all these principles strictly, then quality can be at par with conventional system. So it is the counselors, it is you who is very crucial in implementing this concept. Now, how the open and distance learning concept evolved? If you see from the correspondence to today, this is the evaluation process. In the first generation we tell it is the print media. When we tell print media, it is basically the books which are xeroxed in a correspondence course, and they send it, and the evaluation takes place also maybe through some MCQ or some other process, and that also takes place through post. So it is the postal training or the print media which is taking place in the first generation. In the second generation, audio video was added. So the technology came into picture to bridge the distance. So the audio video part and the print combinedly formed the second generation. In the third generation, multimedia and conferencing, like teleconferencing, it was added in the third generation. Similarly, in the fourth generation, the web-based learning or the internet came into the picture. And in the fifth generation, that is today, we have even automated response system. We have now web-based, that is what it is called intelligent flexible learning. Even we have our repository where students can access, and we can also have the on-board interactions. So the students can ask the questions, there can be automatic response, it may be synchronized or non-synchronized, so all those things can be taken care. So today we are taking care of the web-based learning more and more, and there is an automated response system which is being utilized for open and distance learning. Now, when we develop the material, we take care of certain component, and there is a certain structure. If you see the material that you have received, you are, as a counselor, you have already received the material, you will find the write-up is done in these headings. Every write-up or every chapter has, in the beginning there is a structure, then we follow the objective, what is the outcome, or we express it in behavioral terms, that what the student is expected to learn after going through this unit. So this is the objective, and then introduction, one paragraph is written to link it with the previous chapter, to link with the previous learning experiences, and to link it what the content is going on in the content itself, in the unit itself. Then the content is divided into few sections. It may be 3 sections, it may be 2 sections, it may be 5 sections, depending upon the type of the unit and the objective that we want to achieve through that unit. And at the end of every section, there is a check your progress. We expect the student to check whether he is able to understand whatever is written in the section. If his progress is up to the mark, he should be able to do the check your progress.
the answer to this check your progress is given at the end. That is answer to check your progress. And after this write-up, we usually summarize, that is called let us sum up, and then answer to check your progress, and then further reading. So this is the structure of a unit. Dr. Ruchika, will you like to tell something on this, how the sections and all other things?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing over here, that actually it is the interactive style in which the unit is written which is very important, because actually like we have been listening that actually we are replacing the teacher. The teacher is at a distance over here, and so it is the material which the students are going to read. So it is the material which is the teacher for the students. So just like the teacher is taking a class in a classroom, similarly it is when the student is reading the material, it is as if the teacher is talking to him. So if you go through the material carefully, you will see that we have got the interactive style of writing in which we address the students as you may have gone through this, you may have experienced this. There are a lot of questions which are also asked in the text itself, that do you feel that you have come across such a situation, what do you think you would have done if you are faced with such a dilemma. So such kind of interactions are there as if one is there in a classroom sitting with a teacher. So that is another thing which is very typical of a distance education material, which is different from a print material of a conventional system or of a correspondence education. I think that is an important thing.
Yeah. So if you see what are the other criteria of a self-instruction material. When we tell self-instructional, that means the instruction is given for self-learning. The text is prepared to stimulate independent study or the learning. Text is self-explanatory, text is self-contained, self-directed, self-motivated, and self-evaluating, self-learning. So all these criteria we try to build into the material. So when a student reads, he finds that there is self-explanation within the content itself. And the content, we expect the student to read only our material. We do not expect them to read extra material. If they can read extra material, it is fine. But when we calculate the credit, we calculate the credit hour in such a way that if they can read our material only, then it will be sufficient. They will be able to complete the program, they will be able to understand. Therefore, we tell it self-content. It is self-directed and self-motivated. We expect the write-up to come to a certain standard that while reading the material, the student will feel motivated to read. Like when you read a novel, you feel motivated to read further and further. Therefore, our material also ideally should be self-motivated, self-evaluating and self-learning. Self-evaluating, I have already told that there is answer to check your progress, there are in-text questions, and even when we provide assignment, that also helps for writing the content and self-evaluation process. Now teleconferencing. Teleconferencing is another important feature that you are right now seeing the teleconference. The process behind this is basically we are in the studio and this is transmitted to the satellite, and through the satellite it is being transmitted to the antenna that you are receiving at your place and you are viewing. So in teleconference it is a one-way video but two-way audio. So you can ask questions to us through either telephone, through fax, or even you can ask through our telephone numbers. And there is two-way video at some places. I think they will be fortunate to have a two-way video also through our studios. Now few IGNOU terminology I want everyone to know, because these are the terms which will come again and again. We measure the duration of learning in terms of credit. When we tell 1 credit, it is 30 learning hours. When we tell learning hours, it is not only reading the text, it is doing the assignments, it is doing the activity, it is the self-evaluation, and even it is also the hands-on training. So if it is a practical unit having some credit, then we expect you to do the practical activity in that unit also. Therefore, learning hour means it is the total activity, the time that you should spare from your day-to-day activity. That is what we plan. So when we tell PGDGM program is 32 credit, we expect 32 into 30, that means 960 hours you should be able to spare from your day-to-day activity to complete the program. Usually in IGNOU terminology, 1 year 32 credit, this is equivalent, but in 1 year we may have a program even up to 36 credit or even up to 24 credit. So there is a flexibility, but in average it is 32 credit in 1 year. Certificate programs of IGNOU are usually 12 credit. Any PG diploma, it is more than 24 credit, that means it should be 1 year duration minimum. A diploma is 2 years and a degree is 3 years. Even there can be some degrees which is 4 years also. So within a year, if it is 32 credit, then 2 years we expect 64 credit or minimum 60 credit, 3 years 96 credit. So accordingly, the duration of the credit or the credit hour will be proportionate. Some other terminology that I want you to know, that in IGNOU, program is a broad term. So when we tell PG DGM, it is a program. Unlike conventional system, we usually tell a course is a broader terminology. But here, program is the broader terminology which covers few courses. And each course is an independent package. That is what I want you to highlight. So a student has to clear every course separately. They have to write every course a separate theory paper. If there is a separate course, then they have to give a separate practical paper. So for every course, there has to be independent learning. And each course will have few blocks or books. And each book or block will have few units, that is chapters. And every unit that I have already shown you will have few sections. Each section deals with basically one theme. So what you have to know, that every course will have few blocks. So when you receive the material, you should know how many blocks in that course are there. Because as a counselor, you should know the number of blocks in your course. This terminology can be schematically also presented, that a program having few courses, it may be 3, 5, 7, whatever, and every course can have minimum 2 blocks, it can have 3, 4, 5, 6, and every block can have also minimum 2 units, or it can have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever the number of units is. Now to give a glimpse that how a credit hour is planned. When a credit hour in theory, it is usually for 30 hours, majority of time we distribute for reading, few hours for assignment, few maybe 1 hour for teleconference or audio video, and 1 hour contact session, that is at the medical college. In a practical, the scheme will be different. Maybe demonstrations will take 1 to 2 hours, but practice under supervision, this is where the skill development center is. They will have more time to spend there. Self-practice, that is own workplace, there will be more duration there. So when you see our design of the practical training, we have given more time here, and they will have to maintain the logbooks, records, they will spend some time, and evaluation. So this is a rough plan, but it can differ from program to program and course to course. When we develop a program, we usually take care of the program in this manner. We form an advisory committee who provide a broad guideline about the curriculum. Then the expert committee, they design the program actually. And we form a core team like PG DGM, there is orthopedics, there is community medicine, there is general medicine, and even some other like psychiatric or other components are there. So we call one expert from each, and they form the core team. They help us in decision making. Then we call the course writers, who write the text material, the blocks you have been already provided. Then we do the editing in 3 phases. Each book or block is edited. Then it is formatted as per the IGNOU format. Then we usually identify a person who can do the whole course, so that there is overlap, the linking with the practical, everything is taken care at the course editing level. Then there is audio video development. So in nutshell, theory blocks, they provide the text material. Practical manuals, they provide the operational guidelines, just like Hutchison manual we have for undergraduates. Audio video, these are the supplement to our learning process. Logbooks, it helps to ensure practice. Program guide, it is a guidance for students. Then counselor's guide, it is a teaching guide so that there is standardized teaching throughout the country. And PIC will be, when the program is revised, we will be able to provide you, it will provide you administrative guidelines. We are providing administrative guidelines in PCs, but maybe in future we can do this. This is the last slide, I think, for me. how we do the implementation. Implementation, we decide the teacher-student ratio at each level of pedagogy. When I tell each level of pedagogy, we do medical college, then skill development center, workplace. So at medical college, we expect 1:5. At the skill development center, we want 1:1. Identification of instructor, we also do accordingly, that if we decide there is PSC, then we have to see what is the patient turnover, what is feasibility of practice. Similarly, we integrate quality system. We have plant, regional consultant, so all those are taken care. Weightage of the internal evaluation also according to the importance. Like some practical may be very important, then we give more weightage for that. And similarly, plan for the independent evaluators. We provide external evaluation. So I think you can go through the process. Okay. So I think I end here now. Hand over it to Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Jain. That was a very comprehensive session on distance education, and we have been able to understand. I hope you all have been able to get the gist and the feel of how a program is developed, not only implemented but also developed through the distance education. We will come to the postgraduate diploma in geriatric medicine, and I would briefly just go through the concept about what the program is and what the program is about. Because since you have all you are all having the program guide, so you know about the various aspects of the program. Just to give a broad overview. The program, this program was in 2004, and the idea behind this program was there were two main objectives, and one was to basically provide that after doing this program, going through this program, the students should be able to approach can you have the slide, please? We should have an interdisciplinary approach to the management of the elderly, because all know that there are the elderly suffer just from one or two disorders or diseases, and not only one, maybe all the many systems involved. So we require to have an interdisciplinary approach rather than just an individual approach. Second thing is we need to provide comprehensive care. Comprehensive care meaning not just the medical care, but also the psychological, the social care, financial, physical care. So in this program package, we have tried to also incorporate the other that our students become not only aware of medical problems and how to deal with the medical problems, but also get sensitized to the various problems which the elderly may be facing and how to deal with problems per se, not in details, because naturally they are after all physicians, but they should have an idea of what are the other problems elderly facing, and these problems may have an impact on their medical condition. That's why we complementary care package. The program basically of a 1 year, as been told by Dr. Jaina, the diploma program is a 2 credit program of 1 year duration, but with the flexibility of completing the program in 3 years. And if these students are not able to complete this program in 3 years, then they can also apply for readmission. So they are given, they have to pay, they have to apply for the readmission. The admission form is available in the program guide, and they can then for the admission. If few courses have been left out, because we have got 4 courses, as you can see this program design of courses. The first 2, that is MME 004 and M005, are both theory courses. They are purely theory courses, and so we have a corresponding theory exam for them, and we have an assignment for it, whereas the rest of the 2 programs, that is MME L004 and MME L005, are both practical courses, and so they have to students have to appear for a term and practicals for each of the 2 courses, and also they have to clear an internal assessment. So each of the 4 courses have to be cleared separately, and one of the courses being left, then the student has option of getting the session. The theory courses, the student can take the examination every 6 months after completing minimum 1 year to study, whereas the practical courses they take after 1 year. They do not have exams after 6 months. We have exams of practicals only one calendar year. So that is when they take it and they can compete with this, so that they can opt for readmission. And the program, you all may be aware, the program package consists of 4 blocks, and there are no forces that we have 2 assignments. We are having 4 assignments, but now we have one assignment for the MM04 course and one assignment for MME005 course. And we have practical manuals, and we have one book for each practical manual which students will complete and get it countersigned. We have added to the theory modules which are sent to the students and for which students have to do self-study. There is also practical training which is provided to the students. Now, since a lot of practical component is there, so this trial system that is followed. We have a program study center which is normally at the medical college level, and all over trained are from program study center. So the program in charge in the program study center, and we got counselors from 3 major departments, that is internal medicine, and orthopedics. We do have other allied centers also, allied departments also, like ophthalmology, psychiatry, and dental, etc. But they are not to which the students get rotated and are posted. Now, in addition to the fixed posting in program study, but in the students are required to get to a skill development center. A skill development center is basically at a district level, and they do practice of the skill in the program, and after that they are supposed to further practice under supervision skill development center. Thereafter, for proficiency in the skills, to take those skills again a number of times, which are mentioned in the logbook, at workplace. And workplace is normally a place where the student is actually working. It may be his own clinic, it may be a government hospital, it may be a private sector. Sometimes the student may not be in a workplace, and then he may need to get attached to workplace to undergo this practical training. So we follow kind of activities at the for the practical training. That is for at the program study center, as I said, that we do demonstration. They are demonstrated how to perform the various, and assessment is also done. They are posted at the study center one spell. They demonstrated the learn, and then go to the skill development center where they practice under supervision. They are assessed in the skill development center. When they come to the next spell, program study center, they are assessed for the skills that had been taught in the first spell. So now we do the assessment of the program study center, and this assessment forms part of internal assessment. Now they are also practice. They have learned skills at the HGC and supervision. They are supposed to practice skills workplace. This is their clinic or where they may be working. Now let us come to the PC posting. Now there are 4 spell posting that you may have already gone through and got it. Now posted in 3 parts plus the allied. Medicine have 12 days posting, allied discipline 7 days, in orthopedics or rehab 5 days, community medicine 6 days. We will be going into details of this posting plan. We don't have any separate theory counseling, though in IGNOU program theory counseling is taken up separately. We feel that there is probably no need for a counseling classes, because most of the takes that can be taken place along with that, because it is integrated kind for learning. However, I would request the old previous counselors and the program in charge to give their views about what they, because we may be going for the another 6 months or a year. So whether they feel that theory counseling is required, and the students also feel that counseling is required, then we may include in our revised program. But we don't have any counseling. Now, as far as the speaking details on this, on the spell planning, and we taking in the next slide we will take. Similarly, as far as the time sheet is concerned, you can just say and see that we have the posting for M004, which is basic geriatrics. We have in communication and orthopedics, and basically this is in the program center mainly and workplace. We do not have in a skill development center. Whereas when the student is posted for the medical or clinical geriatric posting, then he is also posted to skill development center. Now, I have already told you about the log book student has maintain and carry. It is very important because all his activities is performed by him, all the cases that are so he must carry these during his posting. Enter the record, maybe not at the same time during the practicals. After he has finished the practical, at the end of the day, he takes it back with him. He records the finding, and then after the posting, maybe of 10 days or 12 days, as the spell is, he gets them by program counselor and skill development and counselor respectively when posting over, because this is very much required. Signed logbooks are required for practical examination. Student is allowed to sit for the practical examination unless logbooks are signed. We have evaluation. Now, evaluation is basically we will also dealing in details. Just an overview over here is an internal assessment and for both the theory and 30% weight is there for internal evaluation, the assignment theory and internal assessment and practicals, and the term examination carries 70%. The minimum of 50% percentage for each of the components. And you have external examination, government practical examination as been indicated by Dr. Jain. Now, the practical examinations are always held in the program centers where the students are attached. And various counselors are the internal examiners, and external examiners are also counselors of the program of PGDGM, but from different programs, and they are invited, and then the examination is held. Assignments is internal assessment component, has already been mentioned that all the assignments they have to be online. They are also visit for the submission to the they are prerequisite application, and they are program charges are various counselors, and they are evaluated by the counselors, and the assignments must be returned to the student because they are a feedback to the students. Now, this is important. Assignments we will be taking separately because it removes link how the assignments are to be checked, and I would request that not only for the new council, also the council can give us how to evaluate the assignments and can have because as council is concerned, because the assignments have a two-way kind of evaluation for internal. The second is that it is for doing self-assessment. The student is able to have understood the subject or not. It is reinforcement of the subject by the students. The theory, basically, we have I already mentioned students in one for each course, and the duration of paper is 3 years. Practical examination is held with and it is 2 day duration. There is 1 day course. So we have about the 3 and about quiz you can ask us this session. We'll be taking the skill planning in the next session at around 12 o'clock, and I request all the program in charges also to interact during this session, so that they are we will be giving a model, and we will be also giving, we have invited from Delhi who will be discussing how they are posting this. We would share their posting. So this I would like to take leave. Back at 12 o'clock.